Earlier this week, we told you about an incident where a Block Club Chicago reporter says she was kicked out of a public meeting by a staffer for 25th Ward Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez, while other reporters were allowed to stay. Now, in the past few days, that story's become a bit of a flashpoint, highlighting concerns about limiting freedom of the press, not just here, but across our country. At the center of it all is Block Club Chicago's Francia Garcia Hernandez, who joins me now to talk about what happened from your perspective. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here, Francia.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so first of all, why? I know this meeting took place at a CPS school, which is relevant in regards to the alderman's response. But tell me quickly what happened from your perspective.
Yes, we attended a meeting. I'm the neighborhood reporter for Pilsen Little Village in Back of the Yards for Block Club Chicago, and I attended a public meeting that was announced by the 25th Ward's office and stated as public in the notice that they issued to neighbors.
They distributed flyers.
They distributed flyers, and there were no restrictions posted on that notice. So I had reported on this bar before a shooting that led to the bar's temporary closure and neighbors' concerns about this bar. The meeting was to announce the city's decision to allow it to reopen, and I knew that the meeting was happening and it was open to the public, so I attended as other reporters did.
So you're in an auditorium at the school, and then what happened?
About 20 minutes into the meeting, I was asked to leave by the 25th Ward's chief of staff. She approached me and said that the meeting was closed to the media. I said it was a public meeting, so I had a right to be there, but she said that it was in fact not, that it was only open to neighbors in a 4-block radius of the bar in question.
Oh, okay, now really quickly now, and we'll get to the alderman's response. So let me start. You did leave. Did you voluntarily leave, or how did you handle it? Because that can be tricky.
Yeah, she asked me to leave and said other media were asked to stay outside.
Okay.
So I left to comply with that. Once I left, I realized there were two TV reporters from Univision and Telemundo, the local network, inside the meeting. The camera operators were asked to stay outside, but the reporters were inside the meeting.
Okay, so much to unpack here, but quickly, I do want to say that the alderman's office, in a letter that they sent you and us, said that the reason you were asked to leave is because you were recording portions of the meeting on perhaps your phone, and that it had been made very clear that no recording was to be allowed to take place in the meeting. So your response to that?
It was never announced that it was not allowed to take pictures or record the meeting. If that was a rule that had been announced at the beginning of the meeting, before the meeting, or after the meeting, even when I asked for an explanation, I would understand that. That was never mentioned to me until after we published the story and I saw the alderman's response.
Okay, and again, concerns for anyone who might just be tuning in. So you were covering a public meeting,
at
to
a
your
public
understanding,
school.
And were asked to leave. They say it was because you were recording. You're saying, well, hey, that was never made clear that we were not allowed to record. And then you noticed there were two other reporters still in that meeting. So when you left, did you immediately think this is a problem, or did it take you a few days to maybe discuss with an editor or yourself that there might have been here a potential illegality, or at the very least a violation of an Open Meetings Act?
It was clear to me that something was not right when I knew that two other reporters were allowed to stay and I wasn't, and there wasn't an explanation for it. I immediately alerted my editors and we talked about it. I still reported on the meeting after, and then we talked to experts to understand what happened and asked the 25th Ward office and the alderman for a response. In those explanations, which have been conflicting until now, I was never told that the camera or my recording was the reason that I was asked to leave.
Okay, I know we have so much more to get to. I do want to mention, though, that the alderman's office is asking for a retraction, saying many different things, including the fact that, you were not supposed to record, that you didn't say that you were coming, which, I've covered a lot of public meetings. We normally do not have to do that, but because it was a CPS school, you weren't, they needed to let CPS know you were going to be there. And they also said that the report alleges the 25th Ward suppresses free speech, your report, a dangerous and false allegation, and went on to say, many other things, essentially saying that you have distorted what happened. And you would say firmly what?
I stand by the reporting. The story is fair. The story is based on what happened. I was excluded from a public meeting at a public school. CPS issued a statement yesterday saying while it was at a public school, it was after school hours, so those who organized the event are in charge of its logistics and the conduct of attendees. And I have not
issues
received
with this before? With this alderman? Had you ever had any issues?
No,
with it?
I have reported in the neighborhood. I've talked to neighbors. I've built relationships. I have not had any issues, and I will continue to do that. I will continue to do my job, and I don't expect any interferences going forward.
Okay, all right. Francia, thank you so much for talking through. I know it seems quick. You know, there's a lot to unpack here, as I mentioned, but it comes down to covering a public meeting, freedom of the press, and then you saying you were asked to leave for no reason that you understood. They, of course, saying it was because you were recording. Either way, you're standing firm by your report. And Block Club as well.
Yes.
As well. Okay. Thank you for joining me again, Francia. I appreciate it. To note, though, I want to say that we asked the alderman to appear on the show next week to talk about what happened here because he is staunchly defending what happened at that meeting. We're waiting to confirm if he'll be here. Again, you know, keep on reporting.
Thank you so much.
It's
Thank you for
important.
having
All right,
me.
Francia, thank you.